If your R&R is helping you hit your stretch goals, that's great. If it's taking you further away, it's time to check in.
Take R&R, fill your cup so that you can serve at your greatest level, and you have to learn how to let that guilt go away, because a lot of that is just conditioning. Beam!
Hi.
What's happening? How was your trip?
It was really good. Definitely have some things to kind of go through, but it was really nice to see everyone. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I'm glad you had a safe flight.
It
Turbulence?
was, very turbulent, but
I was driving.
I'm glad you're home safe.
we made it home safe. Exactly.
Kev, you were the pilot?
I was the pilot of it. Yeah.
Oh, well, no wonder why.
First one. What do you think, Aim? We got some questions from the community.
Oh, yeah.
My head's too big. I got a big head. All right, let's hear them.
Okay. How do you prioritize self-care? Do you do your daily habits first and then your daily work, or do you get work done and then whatever is left, use that for self-care?
I think that's a great question. Alan alluded to this a little bit before. I am a very much all or nothing person when it comes to this. I would rather work 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, and then R&R. So I like getting it all at once at the end of the day. I'm the same way with my food, Alan. I think you are too. Of like, I don't really even want to eat during the day. I want to save all my stuff so I can have ice cream at night. That's the way I like it. I like doing it all in one sitting at the end of the day. That's my preference.
Yeah, I think that's the answer, right? Is customize it based on what works. Experiment. Try both. See which one works better. I think that's where when we started this, how to take excellent care of yourself, this came over years and years and years. And one thing that I want to mention as well, when you're okay, so last week I had 57 critical numbers. So on my calendar, I track all the important things. So podcasts, coaching sessions, team huddles, quality time with Emilia, gym sessions, that kind of thing. And I had 57 reps last week. And that's like on the higher end of what I'm currently capable of. And what I want to say is this. I haven't always taken excellent care of myself. Kevin and I have learned that we have to. And Kev, I don't think you've always taken great care of yourself either. But when we're doing as much as we're doing, we kind of have no choice because we won't be able to be here and serve. Even right now, my voice is a little bit hoarse because we've been on the mic basically since 10. And even when we were doing back office, I was still talking a lot. So my point is this. You've got to experiment with your own self-care. You've got to experiment with this and figure out what works for you. But if you don't have a lot of aspiration in this arena, it probably won't force you to take better care of yourself. So for me, I have to take better care of my voice. Otherwise, I won't be able to podcast at the rate we're podcasting. So I have to go learn how to take better care of my throat. The same goes for your own unique self-care.
Boom.
I consider a show R&R, but then I spend half the time scrolling. How can I stop and just enjoy the R&R?
Snap your cell phone in half, put it into a burnable bag, and then toss it into the nearest flame. That's what I would say. No, you got to get rid of your phone. You got to get rid of your phone. It's the same for me of like, I'll just check this email. What's Mercedes-Benz doing on Instagram? And then the next thing you know, I'm watching videos of cats eating cake or something. You have to... You have to eliminate distractions. I think that's the only way to do it is commit to yourself. Look, what are the odds anything exciting is going to happen on my phone? Like very little. Pretend. I do believe, Alan, you'll be able to remember a time when this was the case. I remember back in the day, when I wanted to see one of my friends, I had to call them on their home phone. And if they didn't answer their home phone, I had to wait in their driveway until they got home. Because that was it. And if they came home at a reasonable time, we would hang out and do whatever. But if they didn't, I'd see them the next day. I would literally treat your cell phone like it has no use to you because it doesn't have a positive use to you in that moment and put it in another room. That's what I would say.
Kev, do you remember a close friend's home phone number off the top of your head? Which, by the way, it doesn't exist anymore.
I do.
Yeah.
No, it does. It still does exist. You gotta be careful. It still exists.
No.
Yeah, people still have home phones.
No, not the one I said. Yeah. But it's interesting. Landline before the internet was the thing. It's like, how old are we, man?
Pretty old.
To answer that question, it is what Kevin said. You need to eliminate the temptation. I have a client, and he has on his peak performance tracking a line item that says, do not exceed app limits. And then in parentheses, it says Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. So it says IG, TikTok, and SC. And on our last 2 calls ago, I basically said, hey, man, why don't you just get rid of TikTok? Just get rid of it. It's like very useless from my perspective. Pretty useless app. And again, I'm hardcore about that because you're not going to learn a lot on TikTok. Read a good book, you know? Now, you could learn some stuff. So for anyone out there who loves TikTok, I apologize. But my point is this. 2 weeks later, he comes to me. It was actually a month later because we missed a call. So it was a month later. He comes to me. He's like, oh, my God, my life is so much better. I'm like, I know. Of course it is. No one's pumped after they waste 30 minutes on TikTok. No one's ever been like, oh, I'm so glad I wasted an hour on TikTok. Guys, if you spend 5 minutes a day, every day for a year on Facebook, it comes out to 16 full 16-hour days, I'm pretty sure. Let's crunch some numbers here. Let's do this as a team.
Numbers live.
5 minutes a day, 5 times a day, 25 minutes a day. Okay? Times 365, 9,125 hours. 9,125 minutes, I'm sorry. Divided by 60, that's 152 hours. Divide that by 16. Okay, I'm sorry, I screwed up. It's 10 full days.
It's a lot.
5 times a day for 5 minutes is 25 minutes. Times 365, okay, it's 9.5 full 16-hour days. I want everyone out there right now to imagine. Okay, so what you're doing right now is not bad. You're on Facebook or LinkedIn right now learning. This is an excellent use of your time. So don't get those two things mixed up, okay? But if you're scrolling and not learning anything, you are jeffing, okay? If I said to everyone out there right now, hey, for the next 9.5 days straight, I'm going to spend a full 16 hours on Facebook, you guys would be like, what? Are you kidding me? That's the worst idea in the long, sad history of bad ideas. But yet we're all doing it. Okay, so my client who got rid of TikTok came to me a month later, said, oh my God, my life's so much better. Guess what I said to the next time? I said, okay, Snapchat's next. Delete it. Guys, delete it. It's a waste of your time, straight up. Unless you're using it for your business, in which case it's actually good and impactful. And in many ways, I did find Amy on Snapchat originally. So some good can come of it if you're using it for a good purpose. So if you're just scrolling, though, there really is no value. Delete the apps. They're not good for you.
And then burn your phone, too.
Yep. We're hardcore these days, aren't we?
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Can't wait for my salad. You know?
How are you able to focus on R&R when you feel like you have obligations to do for other people without feeling guilty?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I think this is a practice. This is a muscle you have to build. And you have to set the boundary with yourself. So I think that you have to learn how to sit in the guilt and to learn how to not feel guilty through time. What's a good example of this? Oh, okay. Here's a good example. I'll tell this story. I have a close friend of mine and client who I adore. Okay? She's one of my favorite humans of all time. She moved recently. She moved from one apartment to another. There's no chance that I'm going to be able to allocate 5 hours to go help her move. I would rather pay her the $300 to go get movers than because I want to be a podcaster and a coach and a consultant, and I want to train people on how to be the best version of themselves. I'm not a mover. That's not what I went to school for. That's not what we did 800 episodes for. It's just not my genius zone. My greatest level of contribution is not moving furniture. Now, that doesn't mean I can't be helpful sometimes. But there's a part of me, I want to be honest, that feels guilty that I didn't help her move. I have to get over that. Because what about the thousands of people that we're helping right now? That's a different level of impact than me moving furniture. Okay? When I was 16 years old, I was a busboy and a cart kid. Okay? I made $7 an hour. See, back then, it might have made sense for me to go move for $10 an hour, or for $12 an hour, for $15 an hour. That doesn't make sense for me now. Okay, I spent between financial aid, scholarships, and my own hard-earned money, and my mother helped so much as well. My college education was $250,000, and that's not including room and board and stuff like that. So the point that I want everyone to understand is that you have a genius zone. You have your own maximum potential and your own greatest level of contribution, and the world needs your unique contribution. And my unique contribution to this world is not moving furniture. So you have to take R&R, fill your cup so that you can serve at your greatest level, and you have to learn how to let that guilt go away, because a lot of that is just conditioning. People made you feel bad in the past, and you have to learn how to overcome that. And I think that actually takes a lot of courage, not the other way around, because I do feel guilty that I wasn't able to help her, but I also know that having the courage to sit with that guilt and learn how to focus on my genius zone is actually what's most important, even for her, because she's a client, and the more I master my craft, the more benefit and value she gets.
Well, and another part of that, Alan, and you probably know this, I know this from working in a service-based, product-based coaching thing. When you break your boundaries, people remember that. And that becomes the norm of like, well, if I text Kevin at 8 o'clock, like this is going to get done. So that's one thing, is you're setting a bad precedent. You can use that as extra Y power. This is kind of sort of my frame. And I get a lot of later messages. You know, we have people in different time zones, and I still obviously am the one who answers my phone, right? My question is, will the world end if this doesn't get fixed? I also stole that from Brendan Burchard, because he said that. He said, if you email me and you want me to come on your podcast and you don't give me an exact time, date, and reason, I'm not going to do it, because if it's not world ending, it's probably not that important to me. So ask yourself, how important is this thing that somebody's asking you to do? I think that's a good, and not how important to them, how important in the grand scheme of things. Like, it might seem like, you know, I need somebody to vent to. Cool. How important is that to them? How important is that to you? How much are you leaving on the table by doing that? What could you be doing with that time? You really have to go into sustainability mode of how sustainable are the actions I'm currently practicing. So if the world isn't ending, you might want to think twice about doing it, honestly, and become the type of person who values their time as much as they should.
Fire.
Boom.
Hey, Kevin, Kim here. Just wanted to send you a video to say thank you so much for your help on creating the Peaceful Productivity Podcast. You know, I couldn't have done it without you. I knew you'd be lots of great help with the technical aspects of getting the podcast going, but you went well above and beyond that. You helped me with the strategy, and you gave me all kinds of really great support. You know, I think the key to success in business is a great attitude, and you have that in spades. You really walk the walk. So thanks again. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Is there a time where you are doing so much R&R where R&R might not be an everyday thing? For example, if you're running a business.
Yeah, phases. There are phases when Kevin and I travel where we know after the travel, it's like, yo, we are going to have a burn down after this.
Yep.
So I think there are times, especially for entrepreneurs out there, where you have to understand that it's grind time. And Emilia and I have a reminder in our calendar every month that says burn down coming. And it gets us to check in, and we need to do a better job of this. It gets us to check in advance, because right now the holidays are coming up. We've got Books for Babes initiative happening, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work. And on top of 7 episodes a week, and then going on other shows and 18 clients, again, very, very blessed. But when your business is booming, remember the opportunities can be very, very overwhelming. I know Kevin's felt that way too. And again, this is Next Level University. So you have to learn how to play at that new level. And sometimes that takes more of you for a time. Just make sure you're proactive in taking excellent care of yourself along the way. And I can't pretend to be great at this. I realized this weekend, and so did Emilia, that her and I need to take more silence between the notes. We need to do better at R&R. One of the reasons why we're doing this episode right now, quite frankly, is Kevin and I last week were asked, like, what do you want to do? And it's like, take excellent care of yourself was a suggestion I had, because I feel like I need to do a better job at that. And I bet you our listeners struggle with that as well. So that's my answer.
It's a wonderful answer.
Thanks, man.
I'll take a little bit of a a different perspective than Alan. I would ask, when's the last time you checked in with the importance of the stuff that you're doing for your business? And do you have the opportunity to delegate? That's always a good question, because I think a lot of people delegate too late. That would be that. And then I would second what Alan said. When we were in Florida a few years ago, we literally worked all day, every day. Like, I built our website. We both recorded an online course. We did the worksheets. We did a ton. We did podcast episodes. We went to the gym every day. So there will be seasons. Just make sure during that season you're preparing for what's going to happen afterwards. Because like Alan says, I literally tell Alan when we get off the plane or when we leave the airport, if it's separate, like, don't text me tomorrow. Like, yes, I'm kidding and I'm trying to be funny, but I'm also serious. Like, I'm not going to answer. I'm not doing any work. I don't do client calls. So I do believe as long as you can prepare for that burn down, there are seasons where you're not going to necessarily get that need met.
Kev, you hammer the next one. I'll be right back.
Where you going, man? You have cookies?
A quick bathroom break.
Okay. All right. What do we got, Aim?
I link R&R to rewarding myself for accomplishing tasks. Is that holding me back from getting true R&R?
Ooh, I think so, yeah. I think that, again, now this is a fine balance because you can go on either end, but it's almost like, and dieting's a tough thing because obviously there's people out there with eating disorders, but I do think it helps with the example of if you only allow yourself to eat certain foods because you earned it, that is potentially creating a toxic relationship between you and what you're earning. So I would check in with how accurate is that thought? Like, did you do enough work where you feel like you moved the needle on the stuff that you feel like you should have? If so, then you should be able to, without regret or without guilt, take a break. It's tough. It's personal. Honestly, full disclosure, that's one of the reasons I like Monday so much, because there's zero guilt with me going and stuffing my face and watching a couple episodes of Shark Tank because I've been working all day. But I do believe you have to check in with where that guilt, if you're having it, is coming from, and ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I have left in the tank? I think that's a good question, because when you're empty, you got to fill your cup. When you're full, you don't have to fill as much. So use that as a measure.
My answer is guilt, regret, remorse are always a tell that you're outside of alignment with your calling. And so the question was basically if I'm rewarding myself with R&R. Like Kevin said, that's a dangerous game because most likely the rewarding yourself isn't just R&R. It's probably something pleasure-seeking. It's probably something dopamine-inducing. So when I watch a certain show, when I watch my favorite show, House MD, it's not fulfilling. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me. But if I watch too much of it, it will make me feel guilty and I'll regret it. And so only you can know for you whether or not you're walking that fine line, like Kevin mentioned. And so stay centered in the sense of like, you know, if you're overdoing it. And the cool thing about this is that we all have our own standards. So I used to have only a half an hour in between calls. Now I only have 15 minutes in between calls. And who knows, maybe one day I'll go 5 minutes between calls. But for me, I like that silence between the notes. But I'm not watching a show in between calls. And we've all had this moment too. And I want to make sure we bring this to the table. Productivity is about momentum. So today has been a phenomenal day. I had a tough start because something happened, with Emilia's extended family challenge. And I didn't expect that, and neither did she, and I wanted to be there for her. But like generally speaking, the day has been incrementally building from the start. There hasn't been that huge lull. Sometimes if I have a huge gap in my day, I'll be honest with everybody, sometimes I'll like eat food and watch a show, but the comeback from that is so hard. Like trying to get myself hyped back up to get back into coach mode is so much harder than if I just waited and just did it at night. Right? So I think the key is don't reward yourself too much with R&R if it's gonna hurt your momentum of the day, your rhythm. We've all had that midday lull of like, oh God, how am I gonna get through this Monday or this Tuesday? It's most likely because you aren't building incrementally throughout the day, and you don't want to lose. Don't take those momentum hits. Try to do your R&R in chunks at the same time so that your daily rhythm is really good. That's why PPT is set up in the rhythm of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, because usually R&R should be in the evening, in my opinion.
We joke about this, Alan, but there was point, like, it became a problem when I was playing Call of Duty in between. For those of you who don't know, Call of Duty is like a first-person shooter. It's a good game. It's legit. But I was playing it in between coaching calls so much where I literally disconnected it and I put it under the TV. And the only time I ever play it is after I go through the process of plugging it in, and it's a whole pain in the butt. I'm going to put a TV on the wall in my office, and I was like, I should really hook up my PlayStation. I was like, no, that's a terrible idea. Like, that's the worst idea ever of all time. You're going to be locked in a room with it. So I think that's an important thing too, is make it difficult to do the stuff that you know is a guilty pleasure. Amy, last one.
You're going to go from worrying about your kill to death ratio in Call of Duty to like, hey, how can I help Tori Little grow and scale her podcast? It's going to be a tough transition.
I'll be right there. I'm just going to finish this game up.
Yeah, literally. I almost got my KD above 1. Just joking, man. Any video gamers out there will get that joke.
Yes.
Go ahead, Aim.
How do you balance the importance of keeping promises to yourself with providing stretch goals when designing or creating new habits?
Understand that 80% is still progress. You're not going to crush 100% every single day, and you're filling your cup, your R&R is just as important as the goals that you're chasing, as long as you're doing it. It's like that right mix of, you got to eat the right amount of food if you want to get the result that you want. And I think some people have a bad relationship with R&R, so it's hard for them to take it at all. And some people have a good relationship with R&R where they're really good at taking it. I think it's all about self-awareness, I think. I think all this whole game is about self-awareness. If your R&R is helping you hit your stretch goals, that's great. If it's taking you further away, it's time to check in. And Alan helped me with this. Take R&R with the intention of getting after it harder tomorrow. If that's what you're doing, then you're doing it right, probably. And if you don't get your stretch goals, it's probably not because of your R&R. Maybe it's something else.
Whoever asked this question, I really appreciate it because it shows a deep understanding of this concept. What's my answer to the question? Okay. You have to know. It comes down to like, is my self-esteem, I say this often on the podcast. You can either feel good or be good. I'm going to tell a quick story.
Lightning round, damn it.
2 people jump on a stage and they give a speech on how to be excellent, take excellent care of yourself. Okay, Kevin and I. Let's say that Kevin gets off of this and feels like he did an awesome job. Okay? He isn't going to get that much better because he's not going to contemplate where he jeffed a bunch of stuff. Whereas I'm going to get off this and let's say hypothetically I feel terrible about it. I'm going to look at that and go contemplate how I can get better, which, by the way, is what I do. After this, I won't be thrilled with my performance. I'll ask Amy and Kevin where I can be better. But because of that, I'll get better. And so, but that's also because my self-esteem is fairly high. If I was really, really down on myself, I probably wouldn't ask Amy and Kevin to cherry pick every little thing I did wrong. Last week, Amy was like, wow, you talk about fitness like a lot, right? And I was in a decent spot, so I appreciate that. She knows I want that feedback. But the point that I'm making here is this. If you're stretching so much that you're constantly breaking the promises to yourself, you got to make smaller daily goals. Everyone's peak performance tracking is based on each individual's competency level. Okay? We have some members of the team that are brand new to PPT. We start them really small with really simple, easy stuff. Amy, nothing against you. My PPT and what I do in a day is more challenging than yours. That's okay. It's supposed to be that way. Amy's PPT is infinitely more challenging than it used to be. And what she does in a day, a week, a month, a year is way more than it used to be because she's grown. She's become more competent. So you have to find that sweet spot of like, how do I feel good about myself and build self-esteem, but also not let myself off the hook of the challenge of growth? It's called the challenge skills sweet spot. Stephen Kotler talks about this in his book. You need to know that it's enough of a stretch to where you're growing, but not so much of a stretch where you constantly feel defeated.
A better answer than mine, honestly. It was a better answer than mine.
Well, thanks, brother. We'll unpack it after this. Just joking.
I should have gone to the bathroom before that one. So I said,
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
Take care.
All right, Amy, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
Next
Thank you,
Level
Amy.
Nation. As you can see, group coaching number 5 starts January 4th. The biggest difference between you and the results you want, the habits you have, make 2022 the year of positive habits with Alan, myself, and 9 other individuals in group coaching. I guarantee you will level up beyond what you think is possible, and we would love to do that with you.
Guys, it's only $147 per month. It's unreasonably cheap. It's bi-weekly. You will, in these 90 days, it will be like a Mario Kart booster. That's the best way to describe it. You are already on a certain trajectory. This is going to be like in Mario Kart when you go a little bit over this way and then you hit the booster and you pass the other players. You will succeed at a greater level in now and in the future when you join this program. We are only ever doing this once per quarter, and we're only ever taking 10 people. The last one we took 11. We're going away from that. We're only doing 10 people. Get in this group. Shout out to B. She's going to be in this group. You're going to be around next level people. You're going to be around next level people trying to do next level things. And that's so key. And we've already graduated 4 separate groups, and many of those people are now one-on-one clients of myself or Kevin. So they always wanted more. It's momentum. And it's going to build unbelievable momentum for a very cheap price.
Next Level Nation, Amy, thank you. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.
Say bye, Aim.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Aim.